Sixth grade, welcome back to the second half of your history lesson 4. We're still talking about the kingdom of Cush. Yesterday we talked about the rise and fall between Egypt and Cush Nubia as they went back and forth with each other, one conquering the other and then the other one gaining its freedom. Today we're going to talk about some of the lasting impacts that the Cushite kingdom had on it. So we're starting off here in the middle of the page. You got your notes set up over here. By the end of the Middle Kingdom, fill in your blanks for number 1, Egypt was weak. It could no longer govern its conquered people effectively, and the Nubians were able to break away from the Egyptian rule. So you can see why we talk about the difference between the Middle Kingdom and the New Kingdom, guys. It falls apart. By 850s, the Nubians had formed an independent kingdom that became known as Cush, number 2 in your notes. Powerful kings ruled the country from its capital of Napata. The city of Napata was located where trade caravans crossed the upper part of the Nile River. So now for 2 chapters, guys, we talked about caravans, traveling in big groups of animals and merchants, safety, and delivering more products. Caravans came from Central Africa bringing ivory and other goods. They stopped at Napata for Cushite products and then continued on to Egypt. The Egyptians traded with Cush for goods the Egyptians could not make. Such trade brought wealth to the traders and to the kings of Cush. Number 3 in your notes. So trade, obviously a great thing. People become very, very wealthy with it. In time, Cush became powerful enough to challenge Egypt. That did not happen until about 750 BC. A Cushite king named Kashta invaded Egypt. His soldiers reached the city of Thebes. After Kashta died, his son, Pi, became king and completed the conquest of Egypt in 728 BC. Pi founded the 25th dynasty that governed Egypt and Cush from Napata. So guys, this is a dynasty that's ruling Egypt. He's ruling it all. So he was able to conquer it. As you see here, you can see how Cush down here in the south kind of stays away from it, but they eventually make it up. Now you can see their capital city way down there compared to the capital at Memphis, and then the next capital down here at Thebes. Today, the capital of Egypt is way up here in the north. Okay. So you got Kashta here, and then after that was his son Pi. The kings and wealthy people of Cush continued to admire Egyptian culture. Cushites built their white sandstone temples and monuments similar to those in Egypt. The Cushites also believed in a close relationship, number 5 in your notes, between their rulers and their deities. In other words, we believe our rulers are representatives of our gods, many of whom were Egyptian. For example, when a king died, Cushite officials met at the temple to ask the Egyptian god Amun-Re to appoint a new leader. From our primary source, so the commanders of His Majesty and the officials of the palace, the major priests awaiting outside the temple, they said to them, "Pray, may this God, Amun-Re, give us our Lord," not capitalized, the name for their pharaoh, their king. "We cannot do a thing without this God. It is He who guides us." Then the commanders and the officials entered into the temple and put themselves upon their bellies before their God. They said, "We have come to you, O Amun-Re, that you might give us a Lord, to revive us, to build the temples of the gods." So seeking help from the gods they believe in. Guys, it'd be like us saying, before we pick a new leader, we should pray. Okay, we believe that in our religion big time. It's the same thing in their religion as well. The Cushites also built small, steeply sloped pyramids as tombs for their kings. Some people in Cush, however, adopted customs and styles similar to those worn by southern Africans. Number 6 in your notes. This included wearing ankle and ear jewelry. By this time, the people of Cush also had developed their own style of painted pottery. The elephant, a sacred animal in Cush, was used as a theme in sculpture and other arts. So guys, this sentence is just saying, yes, they had a lot of contact to the north in Egypt, but they also had a lot of contact down with the south below them too, and adopted some of their customs as well. Continuing on, Cush ruled Egypt for only about 60 years. In 671 BC, the Assyrians invaded Egypt armed with iron weapons. The Assyrians defeated the Cushites, who had only bronze weapons. Number 7 there. Bronze weapons are obviously not as strong. The Cushites fled Egypt and returned to their homeland in the south. So Assyrian, this is biblical, guys. Assyria conquers the 10 tribes of the north in the Bible, carries them off into captivity, then goes around and takes on Egypt, conquers Egypt, at this time being ruled by Cush. Cush just says, you can have Egypt, we're out of here. We're not going to get ourselves completely destroyed because we can't match your weapons. Despite their defeat in Egypt, the Cushites learned how to make iron weapons from the Assyrians. Farmers in Cush used iron to make their hoes and plows instead of copper or stone. With better tools, they were able to grow more grain and other crops. Cushite warriors also created iron weapons, which boosted their military strength. Okay, so you got number 8 in your blanks there. They learned from the Assyrians how to make iron, which is going to be obviously very important. Way more time passes. At about 540 BC, Cush rulers moved their capital to the city of Meroe, near one of the Nile's cataracts. This move made them safer from Assyrian attacks. The Nile River continued to provide a means for trade and transportation for the Cushites. Large deposits of iron ore and trees were nearby and used to fuel furnaces for making iron. As a result, Meroe became a major center for iron production as well as a busy trading center. Okay, so you have a few things here, guys. You see the pyramids, smaller and steeper, that they built. And then these are iron-making cities here. They kind of try to develop what we would call a blast furnace. You got to get the fire really, really hot to melt the junk out of iron that you don't want there. And they were able to do that. Okay. So into your notes here for number 9, capital to the city of Meroe. Kushite kings, I went too far here. As a result, Meroe became a major center of iron production as well as a busy trading city. Kushite kings modeled the layout and design of Meroe after Egypt's great cities. So that's number 10 in your notes. They learned from the cities they saw in Egypt. A temple dedicated to the god Amun-Re stood at the end of a long avenue lined with sculptures of rams. Sorry about that. The walls of palaces and houses were decorated with paintings. Small pyramids stood in the royal graveyards, modeled on the larger pyramids of Egypt. Meroe, however, was different from a typical Egyptian city because it contained iron furnaces. Huge columns of smoke poured out of those iron furnaces. Heaps of shiny black slag, that's the waste product from making iron, lay around those furnaces. So, in other words, they're trying to be nice, but say the city was definitely a lot dirtier. Smoke everywhere, staining things, and then you had the waste product that you just piled up outside of it because you don't want to walk so far, was the result of it. It's what it is. Meroe was at the heart of a large web of trade that ran north to Egypt border and south into Central Africa. Kush merchants received leopard skins and valuable goods from the tropical interior of Africa. They traded these items along with enslaved workers and their own iron products to places as far away as Arabia, India, China, and Rome. So guys, you're working through number 11 there in your notes. Obviously, other civilizations have come to power, including India, China, and Rome, which we'll talk about coming up. In return, they brought back cotton, textiles. Textiles is woven cloth. So it starts as cotton, we weave it into cloth, now it's called a textile. And other goods. Cush's merchants used their wealth to build fine houses and public baths like the one that they had seen in Rome. We'll talk way more when we study Rome about the public baths. You and I would think of them as swimming pools, guys, but it was also obviously where you want to get clean. So, Cush remained a great trading kingdom for nearly 600 years. Then another kingdom called Axum emerged near the Red Sea in eastern Africa. Axum is located in the present-day country of Ethiopia. Axum gained its strength from its location on the Red Sea. Goods from Africa moved into Axum. Over time, it served as a trading center for the ancient Mediterranean and East African worlds. By about 350, the armies of Axum invaded Cush and destroyed Meroe. So you got number 12 in your notes with the last one, guys. We will talk more about Axum in like chapters 10, 11, somewhere in there. We're going to get back. We'll talk about kingdoms more in South Africa. Axum is one of those that is going to come off this tribe here. So Axum will be down here, guys. And they're getting products that are coming out of Central Africa and from South Africa. So they become a major trading center and gain power over time. Cush shrinks over time, and then eventually gets conquered. But guys, that's already in 350 AD, so we're past Christ here, so just keep all that stuff in mind. Rome has become a power. Rome is starting to lose power by the time we have this thing happening here. So just make sure you understand this is like 1,000 years between these two events, 900 years. Keep that stuff in mind as we work our way through that. All right, 6, you got through lesson 4. Then you have a worksheet that goes along with it, and then you're done with chapter 4, so we'll have our test on Egypt tomorrow. Blessings on your day.